Hey, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining. And in this video we're going to try to get back to the paint booth to get the dark blue paint done on this KTM RC8 with the flat clear. And maybe just to start, I'm going to give this helicoil thing a try for the first time, so stay tuned. Okay, the first task here is to drill the bike, the frame. So this is the drill bit that is supplied with the kit. So step two is the tap. Again, this tap comes with the kit. Not the tap handle, but just the tap itself. So I'm just going to use a bit of WD-40 here to use as the lubricant for the tap. So just turning it clockwise and then backing it out a little bit. Alright, so got it started here, and the tap handles that I have, none of them seem to, I've got 4 of the darn things, and none of them seem to want to, one fits this well, but it interferes, it gets hitting on here, so I've just resorted to a 5mm wrench instead. Okay, I got the tap run through there, and this is the tool for putting this. This is the helicoil, and this tool basically has a slot in the end, and the idea is that slot goes onto that tang and allows you to basically screw it in, and then there's another tool to break that tang off. So let's see if it works. I've never done this before, so I'm just kind of guessing. The instructions are not very clear. I'm guessing I just pop that off like that, which worked. What I do is hope that this actually fits in there. I mean, she is. Looks like it worked. Job's a good one. Alright, so I think everything's just about done. I put a very light coat of primer just on the edges where I kind of feathered through the extra orange paint here, and then I've just got to kind of flat this back a little bit, but that seems to have done the trick quite nicely. And then on the upper fairing, masked off, this is what will be preserved, obviously, and then I've flatted back any of the overspray, and same sort of thing on the nose piece of the upper fairing. So I think we're just about ready to head back to the paint booth. All right, we are back at the booth. Everything is set up, taped up. So we got everything masked at the bottom, masked at the top. top of the tank. It's masked up there. So I'm just going to go over everything just one more time just to make sure that everything is nice and tight down against the panel. I don't want this stuff lifting. I decided to use the 3M tape because I was finding the other orange tape was lifting too easily with the paint got on it. So we'll see how this stuff works. So the first order of business here is I've got a couple of extra cans of paint. One is a very, very dark gray. So I'm going to use that pint first just to start getting coverage. And then I've got another dark blue, slightly metallic, that's going to go on if I need to get more coverage before I actually pull out the paint of the proper color, because I don't want to run out today. Again, some of the Valspar paints cover well, some don't. So rather than having to run uptown again to get more paint, we've got a plan. So this is the dark, such a metallic green that I'm using just to get a base coat down on it. Didn't cover too badly. So I've got probably one more round of the green that I can use, and then I'll go from there. Not super pleased with what's happening at the edge of that. That's not good. All right, so the plan for this, where the paint has started to wrinkle there, or lift a little, that's actually the very edge of the orange paint where I sanded it back. So I'm going to give it about 20 minutes, let it flash off. And then I'm going to take some 600 and just gently knock that down a little bit. And then I'm going to do a very, very dry dusting on here. And I'll do it on the other side too, just in case anything funky decides to happen over there. And just kind of build it up and bury it with some dry, really, really dry paint. And by dry paint, what I mean is like holding the gun a little further away and just kind of I'm not pulling the trigger all the way, just letting enough paint out just to start to cover it. Like I don't want to pull the trigger all the way and just shoot a whole pile of paint at it, because then it's just going to get worse. So just a little bit of paint further away. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm eating a snack as I talk to you here. How rude. Anyway, that's the plan. All right, so I just put the second coat on, and now I've got a problem right there. No idea what that is. Because the orange paint was kind of way up here, and I didn't sand through it. So that's not good. I'm gonna have to wait for that to dry and sand that down again. And then I've got some sort of funky stuff going on here that doesn't want to cover either. So I'm gonna be waiting another half hour or so. And then I'm going to have to take some 600 to that and to that. It's just, yeah, and I got the same sort of issue going on right here as well. This is where the paint was really, really thin. Like it was clear coated heavy here and not so heavy clear coated here, but it was all nicely sanded back. So I'm not really sure, to be honest, why that's happening that way. Unfortunately, this seems to be okay now. Put a dry coat on there. It's kind of getting buried. I sanded it a little bit. So yeah, on this same side here, same sort of nonsense going on. It's just right, I think what it is, it's where the clear coat ended, and then the original orange base coat didn't, there wasn't really much clear coat here, and I sanded it and feathered it back. And now I've got a bit of a debacle going on there, which is not good. All right, so now we've started the process of trying to bury that. I sanded it with 600, and I'm basically just further away with the gun and just barely touching the trigger to the point where the paint's coming out, and just laying a very light dusting, a very dry coat of paint on it. And then I'm letting off the paint, still with my finger on the trigger, so it's only blowing air, and I'm basically drying it as fast as I'm putting it on because there's so little paint going on there. Now I'm going to leave this for another 5 or 10 minutes. And you can kind of see here where when it wrinkled, it did actually, when I sanded it, you can see the orange through it again. So we'll do that a few times, and then hopefully that'll bury it to the point where you won't see it anymore. This one is not quite as good. It was pretty bad, but we'll see. If I need to sand it again, then I'll sand it again. All right, so this is the third coat of paint, which is, I'm still using leftover excess paint that I have to get you know, coverage and whatnot. So this is a very similar color to what I'm going to be painting at the very end of this process. So it was a good color to pick as a good undercoat. So continuing to get coverage before I hit it with what is called RC blue. Funnily enough, that's the final color. And then I'm still taking it easy on the spots where I'm a little concerned about that paint wrinkling up on me again until I get another coat or two on. Alright, so I've gotten 2 coats on, and this is still not quite covering the way I'd like. You can see that little spot right there. So I think I'm going to let this flash for a good half hour, and I'm going to give them another very, very light sand again. Everything else seems to have healed over, not too badly. Alright, so this is the first coat of the final RC blue, it's called. That's gone on here. So again, we'll wait for this to flash off, and then we'll do 1 or 2 more coats, see how it covers. Alright, so this is the second coat of the RC blue. This is the final color, second coat. And I think I've got enough paint to do more coats on this, but I think we're going to be good. I don't want to be chucking more paint on this than I need to. So I think that's going to be it. And we'll move on to the flat clear. See, I've just said that, and now I see this. Son of a gun. So I guess I'm gonna, this just doesn't seem to want to stop reacting. SOB. So now I'm gonna have to wait for this to dry. I'm gonna have to sand this and then dust this back in again. Boy, this just doesn't want to let up, causing me trouble all the way along here. Everything else is looking fine. It's just that this one spot. All right, so this is about as good as it's going to get. So I can keep going at that all day, I think. But anyway, it's just going to stay as it is now. I'm going to hit it with the flat clear and see how we make out. This is a 5-star Extreme Stealth Clear multi-gloss and the activator. So it's going to be 6 parts clear, 1 part activator, and that gives you the flattest finish. You can do 5 parts to 1 or 4 parts to 1 depending on how flat you want it, but I'm going as flat as I can get it. Alright, first coat of matte clear is on, and the product just seems to lay down just exactly the same as any other clear. Obviously when you first lay it down, it's going on wet, so it's not a difficult task to see where you put the product at all. And then the tank has kind of been flashing off and drying the longest, and I gotta say, I absolutely love this flat finish that's coming off here. So yeah, it's, so far so good. Another 10 minutes flash time. It says 10 minutes between coats is the recommendation, so I'll probably give it a little bit longer than that, probably 10 to 15, and then we'll go again. All right, that's it. 2 coats of the satin clear. Yeah, not super thrilled. I got another breakthrough here of the alligator skin. Everything else turned out okay. None of the other stuff came back through, but for some reason I got a new breakthrough here. And so, I don't know. We'll see how, by the time we get the decals on there, you're not even going to see that. Alright, so I'll peel the masking off just so it doesn't bridge too much while it's drying. Looks pretty good. Look at that. Tricky, tricky stuff. For us amateurs anyway. So yeah, I'm just on my way back from the paint booth. Been there since about 8 o'clock this morning. It's now 4:30, and yeah, a little disappointed with how things went today with fighting with that wrinkling on the paint. But the more I think about it, I can't live with that. There's just no way. So I'll give it about 5 days to cure and flash off real good, and then I'll sand it again, and I'll repaint the upper part of that fairing, that nose piece, and redo the flat clear on it. So here we are back at the shop, and generally the tank turned out really well. The tail unit turned out really well. Seat pan turned out well. Belly pan came out well. Upper fairing, crap. Absolute crap. Not pleased. So yeah, I'm gonna have to fix it. So the concerns I have, obviously, as I showed you just before, which was yesterday for me, is this nonsense here. That'll just be a bloody nightmare having to do the whole thing again. So we'll see. I might see if I can just take a, once this is dried a little bit, see if I can take a razor blade and just kind of move the razor blade in this direction and just shave that lip off there. And we'll see. This side, you know, not too bad. I just put the decal on here. I just placed it on, and the majority of this would get covered, but not on this side. This whole show going on here would be would just be highly visible. There's no hiding that, and so it's got to be fixed. And similarly up here, there's some stuff going on here, which I don't know. Well, I don't know what's going on there, but anyway. Yeah, so not the best results I've ever had, but like any other paint job, I guess it's just you know, there's always options. I mean, worst case scenario, as my buddy said, well, you can just sand the whole thing back to gel coat and start again, which, although true, I'm not particularly motivated to do that. So first course of action is going to be, I have lots of blue paint left. I have lots of flat clear coat left. So it seems to me that just the logical thing to do here is just sand this back, seal it, and then redo the blue just on the top here. But you know, generally the tank looks really, really good. Tail looks good. The only thing I would say, and again, this, I've said this before, you do see ripples in the fiberglass the way it's cast. Like, I mean, you can see kind of a bit of a wave there, and that's just the nature of the beast with replica race bodywork. It's not gonna ever be perfect, so you know, it is what it is, and that's fine. By the time you get the stickers on here, it's not gonna be a problem. So, same with the seat pan. I mean, look at the ripples in the seat pan. Again, that's just the nature of the beast with fiberglass bodywork. You know, dimple, dimple, dimple. You don't want to be filling that stuff with filler, because there's going to be this seat pad goes back on top of there anyway. So it's just the way they are. The belly pan, on the other hand, was much better as far as the quality of the casting of the mold goes. Same company, all in one package, but I would say the belly pan was the best. The tail unit, not too bad. The upper fairing, I mean, I think just because of the sheer size and the amount of real estate on here, there's much more going on that you could kind of argue that, well, that's not ideal. But again, by the time you get these big Red Bull logos on here, and it is race bodywork, it's not meant to be, you know, show class stuff. You know, this stuff is the way it is because people take it to the track and slide them down the road, and you want to be able to throw a new set of bodywork on it. And you know, sometimes people just spray bomb paint on these things, so you just have to be accepting of what you're working with, and there you go. See, this is when you can start to have a little bit of fun and generate a bit of excitement for yourself. If you got the, I mean, it's kind of hard to get the angle right when the thing's kind of tilted back on the stand there, but that's going to be the size of the graphic on this thing. Huge. Should look awesome. Looking forward to putting these things on. Really looking forward to it. And this is wrap vinyl too, so it should be a whole lot easier applying than regular decal vinyl. So yeah, there's not too much in the way of graphics on the tank, although having said that, there's a square race decal that goes on here. There's a little white KTM sticker goes on each side here, and then the tail of the bull kind of comes up on the side here. So a little bit of graphic on that, but yeah, some obviously graphics on the tail on each side, and then yeah, most of the graphics are on the main front cowl and the side cowl, some on the belly pan and whatnot, and then part of the Red Bull lettering that goes up the side of the front fairing and into the tail section will also end up having to wrap around these sections of the frame, just to kind of complete the look of it, because that's the size of the Red Bull logo. And then we've got pretty big Red Bull letters on both sides as well. So yeah, that's for the belly pan. And then we've got somewhere in here there's Moto-Rex stickers. Yeah, so here's the Moto-Rex stickers, decals. They kind of go kind of somewhere down around there on the pan. And then there's a big black KTM logo goes on the pan on each side as well. This guy here, that's where that one goes. Okay, so at the risk of blabbering on too long about my paint problem, here I go again, blabbering about to commence. So here's what happened, I believe. This area here, 1 week ago, was painted, well, 5 days ago, was painted with the orange. Took six coats of orange base to cover, and then there was 2 coats of clear on it. So basically up to this area was all clear coated. Up here there was some overspray of orange and a little bit of clear, but not materially any amount of product over here. It was all focused here. So when I was preparing to paint the blue, I taped this off to protect it, and then I sanded this whole area to flat it back so it would accept the blue paint. This area here where I had the problem, I believe what happened is I probably broke through the clear coat in this spot. Up here, there was no material amount of orange. Down here, material amount of orange with no clear, or, you know, breaking through the clear. And then down here, still had an isolating layer of clear on it. So when the solvents from the paint yesterday hit this, it was hitting uncured orange base, which started to lift and wrinkle. So I think the fact that I had to put 6 coats of orange on to get it to cover, and then put the clear coat on. The clear coat cured, but the paint underneath still really hadn't finished curing, and I think that's my problem. So you know, what am I going to do about it? So again, I'm going to wait. I've gone back and forth on how I'm going to handle this, but there's certainly, this has to be sanded back to a point where you can't feel that anymore. And I'm going to likely flat everything back across all the blue on the top here, not touching this, just this stuff. So I'll sand it, try not to go through the clear coat. In this spot, I'm guessing I am going to go through the clear coat because it's so badly wrinkled. But before I actually go back and paint the blue, I'm going to have to either seal it with a primer sealer of some sort, a 2K primer sealer, or what I might do is when I sand this back, I still have some of the, so a little bit left of this clear coat that I could mix up and just start to dust on here, and just put maybe put a couple of light coats of clear on just to help isolate it, because the clear coat will isolate excuse me, the base underneath. All right, so what I've done here is basically just wet sanded this with 600, and I'm pleasantly surprised. So it's just behaved as if I sanded away orange peel. It did not break through to the orange underneath. So I'm really pleased about that. And yeah, I mean, just to be safe, I think I'm still going to kind of put some clear coat on here in this area, and same over here, just to make sure that I don't get any breaking through again, purely to be safe. I'm going to double check with my painter buddy. That's the correct course of action, but I mean, I can't feel it. Most of it I can't even see anywhere. You can't see the alligator skin, so that's good. That tells me that the chances of this breaking through again are smaller. It really behaved no differently than you know, when you sand back some orange peel before you buff it, that kind of thing. That's really the behavior of the paint and the clear coat. So that's good news. And yeah, basically I've wet sanded the whole blue area, and I got a little bit more to do. There's a couple of areas where I still got a little bit of orange peel, you can see in here, but you know, that's just orange peel. That's not the wrinkling that I had all over this spot here. But yeah, good news. So there's the tape job. Everything is ready to go. This is not masking paper, not real masking paper. I'm here at my home shop. This is really just, it's actually a roll of newspaper print that they use at the newspaper print shop. They sell these remnant rolls off cheap, but it's kind of good for all kinds of different stuff. Not ideal for this. If I was painting and you know, paint was going to be going everywhere, this isn't, you know, the ideal, but for what I need today, I'm going to go with it. All right, so what I've got here, this is just like my little airbrush. I've got some of the clear mixed up in here, and this is again the flat clear coat. So the idea is I'm just going to start to try to dust some of this stuff on here. Yeah, it's coming out now. There we go. So I'm just going to lightly dust this stuff on in the areas that I was concerned about. I just kind of want to get a very light coating on here, and then anywhere where I've got an edge that I'm concerned about, I'm going to put it there so I don't get any lifting. Good for the first shot. All right, so this is going to be the third coat. And again, I'm just this is just a light coat using the this kind of like airbrush type of gun, because it's just the objective is just to start to seal it. I don't want to soak too many solvents into this. That part will come later. So got 3 coats of the clear on here. I mean, when I say coats, I mean barely dusting anything on, just to try to get a bit of a seal on there. If you can see on the video here or not, but right in the corner there where we had a bit of an issue with the paint peeling off, where you see the orange, that I put a little bit more clear on there. That's why it looks slightly wetter. So I'm going to give that time to really flash off, give it about 20 minutes or so, maybe a bit more. Make sure it's nice and dry to the touch, and then I'm going to try to cover that with blue paint. All right, I'm back again with my little airbrush, and this time I have the RC blue, which is the finished color here. So now I'm just going to start to see if I can lightly blow in the part where there was a bit of a problem with the blue lifting and the orange showing there. So hopefully this doesn't cause me any more wrinkling issues. So again, I'm just going to go at this real lightly. A little bit at a time, trying my hardest not to rush this. So that's first light dusting, let it flash, just keep going at it until I got coverage. Starting to get covered. I think it's going to take one more coat of the blue, and then we should be good to give it a shot of clear coat everywhere and see what happens. My fingers are crossed. Okay, start to put the clear on here, and yeah, this is not the ideal weather out here. It's a bit breezy, but let's see what we can do. So basically I'm just bringing it back inside the garage here to dry, because I don't want any kind of bugs and crap flying around outside to land in it. So I just peeled off all the masking tape just so I don't get any bridging, and it looks pretty decent. There's a couple of tiny little blobs of clear that came out of that airbrush, because I think the reality is that airbrush is probably too small to accommodate the thickness of that clear coat, and it was kind of sputtering once in a while, so I think that kind of caused me my problem there. I probably should have used a different gun, but anyway. Yeah, it looks okay. Now I got to decide, once it's fully dry, do I leave that now and just go with it? As I said, most of those little specks that are on there are going to be covered by the decal. All the alligator skin stuff and the wrinkling that was there seems to be gone. But yeah, we'll see how it looks when it's fully cured, and if I'm not happy enough, well then we sand her again and go back to the paint booth and throw some clear on it there. Okay, so I mounted the race seat back on here. What I didn't notice, because when I first mounted this, I don't think I'd finished drilling these holes here, but these are the holes where the pan fastens to the tail. This one, if you remember in the earlier video, these were kind of in different places, but so I had to kind of cut at the edge of the seat away to allow access for that particular Zeus fastener there. So we'll see how that works out when I go to actually mount it on the bike. Well, that's attached, and I put the grommets back in the tank, front and rear. Gas caps back on. I put these on, these bumper things. I'm not convinced yet that I'm happy with the way that they covered, so they may end up coming back off because my vinyl wrap skills are shaky at best. So we'll see. They may have to come off and be redone. It's not a big deal to do that. And yeah, then I still have to wait maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 more days. I want to wait a full week before I start to put the bodywork on the bike. First thing that has to go on is the tank. And to do that, and I might actually do a separate video on that, you basically, the steps are, you put the tank on, you mount the front of the tank, the 2 front bolts. Then you've got to remove some of the bolts for the subframe. Now, I've seen different videos. Some folks say you got to take all 4 of these out and basically let the frame hang. Some folks say you got to take these ones out and loosen those ones and kind of let it kind of drop back and out of the way. We'll figure that out when I get there. But in order to get the subframe back on, basically the way you do that is once your tank is fastened at the front and the steering damper is reattached as part of that, throw a towel over the tank, put a ratchet strap around the triple clamp, and attach the other end here, and then you basically ratchet this part of the frame back into alignment. And some folks who have taken out all 4 say you have to put a pry bar in here as well in order to get this lower bolt through. So these subframes are fully adjustable, so you can see in the inside here, there's a hole here where my finger is, and the bolt on this one is through the top one, and the opposite way around here, right? It's through the bottom one, and then there's another hole here. So if you move it to the top hole, then effectively you're lowering the height of the seat. But not just the height, but you can actually change the angle of the seat a little bit depending on which of these holes you choose at the back. So I'm just going to remount it basically whatever way it fits best. And I think the other thing that's important to consider is how all of this stuff lines up in relationship to the tank. Might have a bearing too on how I want this to line up. So I'm going to go for it the same way that it is here when I get to that point. But yeah, that's upcoming in a future video. We'll make a separate video on that part, I think. And yeah, from now on, for the next few days, it's a waiting game. Let's get all the clear coat fully cured before we start throwing bodywork around. We don't need to prematurely scratch, gouge, or chip anything. And same with this stuff. We'll give that a week before any decals can't go on here for a week. Back here, 3 or 4 days from now, I can start thinking about putting decals on here, and that's the exciting part. Now, how easy that's going to be, I don't know. We'll find that out, I guess. Difficult to manage, maybe just because of the sheer size of them. We'll see, but it is wrap vinyl, so it should be pretty forgiving. So that part of it, I'm not too concerned about. But yeah, so again, my plan for that is I will cut all the decals out while they're still attached to the backing paper and the pre-mask is on them, and then I can tape them in place. It's just a lot easier to tape them on, so you know ahead of time that you've got everything positioned properly. So separate video on all the decals going on. So yeah, stay tuned. So the next video that you'll see on this bike will be bodywork going back on and decal installation. So thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And it really does help the channel. It helps get my views up, and gets me promoted more frequently as a suggested channel for folks. The more people comment and subscribe and view my videos, so very much appreciated. Thanks for subscribing. Click the thumbs up button as well, and hit the like button and all that kind of good stuff. And we'll see you in the next one.